Making your speech just 1% better can significantly make your speech powerful. Hi, this is Shelomo Solson, the host of the Teenage Impact Podcast, where we share stories, tips, and specific strategies on how you as a teenage kid can overcome any struggle in life. Whether you are anxious, depressed, overcoming challenges in your relationships or at home, I have interviewed over 55 people from all around the world on how they overcame adversity and how you can too. Are you facing daily challenges, frustrations, and unnecessary stress as a teenager? Do you feel like you don't truly fit in or that you can't be your authentic self? Do you feel helpless sometimes? After conducting over 55 interviews of people who went through extreme hardships, I have found that resilience is the number one factor in overcoming any type of adversity. The good news is I put together a life-changing course called Building Resilience 101, where once you go through it, you will start your self-discovery process. You will learn how to manage your emotions, and you will learn how to be more resilient so these tough times won't define you. I want to give you a 50% discount on the course, but I'm only going to give it to the first 10 people who sign up. So click on the link in the description to sign up, and where you see the promo code or the discount code, type podcast, PODCAST, and you're going to receive 50% off, but I'm only going to give it to the first 10 people, so sign up right now. Speaking is one of the greatest fears that we all have. Anytime we are told by our teacher, our work, that we have a presentation or we have a speech, or maybe you're going to a wedding, maybe you're going to a funeral, whatever the situation is, you have to give a speech. Now, when you give a speech, it can be extremely terrifying, even depending if you have like 5 people or 500 people. It doesn't matter with the audience. You're concerned about how you're going to sound, how you're going to look, if you're going to say the correct words. In this podcast episode, I'm going to talk about 5 tips on how you can prepare for a speech and do well on it. When writing a speech, a lot of times we don't know where to start. We don't know if we should write out the whole speech. We don't know if we should do bullet points. There's a lot of different ways and strategies to lay out a speech. Here are 5 things that I think you should do in order to prepare for a speech. Don't just go out there and wing the speech. That never works out. It might have worked once or twice, but it's not always going to work for the rest of your life. Talking from personal experience, trust me, it's always good to prepare for one. So the first thing you should do, the most important thing you should do to prepare for a speech is, number 1, you should know your topic well. That is the key word, well. Not just know the topic, but know it well. Here are 2 examples. I remember my college senior year, I had to do 2 presentations in the same week. Back then, I didn't really prepare for the presentation. I kind of winged it. One school topic I knew extremely well. It was on India, the country. It was a group presentation, and I knew the topic the most, and we had these feedback notes from the classmates afterwards on the entire group, and a lot of people said I was the best presenter in the group. In reality, I wasn't the best presenter in the group. I was just extremely passionate about the subject India, and I knew India better than anyone else in my group. And the second example is the class System Analysis and Design. I absolutely hated the class. I went in with the group, didn't know my topic at all. I just completely winged it without studying the subject. And the teacher was even looking at me like, okay, you didn't prepare for this. You don't even know what you're talking about. And I kind of walked off the stage or in my desk with my head down, knowing that I did extremely bad. So it's extremely important to know the topic well, because when you know the topic well, you can organize your speech and you can practice your speech and you can deliver your speech more effective. Second thing you should do, here's how you should organize your speech. Organization is extremely important when you are laying out your speech and before you actually even practice. First thing you should have in a speech is your attention grabber. Don't just go into the speech saying, okay, this is what I am going to talk about. You need something, a statement that is going to grab everyone's attention. Whether you start with a quote, an emotional story, a shocking statistic, or a radical statement, whatever it is, make sure it's something that grabs the attention of the audience right away, gets the listeners engaged, all eyes on you, and then you go to the introduction. The introduction is where you introduce your topic and what you're going to go over. And then you lay out with 3 points, and each point is going to have a mixture of stories, statistics, quotes, statements, messages in each point. And then the conclusion, this is where you wrap up the topic, kind of summarize what you've gone over. And then finally is the call to action or the message you want to deliver. If you want to talk about, for example, racism in America, and you want to talk about racism in America, you grab everyone's attention. How many killings has there been in the past 5 years that were unnecessary? You go into introduction, you talk about the topic you're about to introduce, you go over your 3 points with the stories and the quotes and statistic, whatever you need to do. You wrap up the whole speech, and then your call to action could be along the lines of, if you want to see change, then the change must start with you. What you should be doing right now is you should be going to protest. You should be sharing on social media. You should be correcting people, whether it's your teachers, your parents, your friends, of racist comments that they are making. In the end, you should have a call to action, because without a call to action, if you just have a speech that is really nice, then that just makes it an entertaining speech or an informative speech. But if you want people to move or be moved by the speech, you must tell them exactly what they should be doing. What I recommend you doing is having like an index card or having a piece of paper and list out, okay, attention grabber, write out exactly where your attention grabber is, or summarize your attention grabber, introduction, go over some things you want to talk about in the introduction in bullet points. Then list out point number 1 and list out everything you want to talk about. Point number 2, point number 3, conclusion, write a few bullet points, and call to action, write a couple bullet points. What you should be doing is you should be starting with the end of mind. With the end of mind, what it means is see exactly what the purpose of your presentation is. Is your presentation to get people to post on social media more about racism? Is your purpose of the speech is to just raise awareness of racism? What is the purpose of your speech? After knowing what the purpose of your speech is, then you should go back and write out your 3 bullet points and what they are. And then you go into the introduction and you have your conclusion. And the last thing you should list out is your attention grabber and then your call to action. But the first things first, know the purpose of the speech. After knowing that, list out the 3 points. And then once you have your 3 points kind of ready, this is where you gather information. Gather information meaning gather stuff about the history, gather statistics, gather facts, gather stories, gather whatever information you need to make your speech as effective as possible, and then put it under each bullet point, and then put it in the introduction, put it in the conclusion. And then this is an optional step, but what I usually do is I write out my speech word for word. Most people don't do that. That's because I'm better. I have to see a visual of my speech in order to do a great job. But some people don't need that visual. So it's really up to you. You kind of have to see what is best for you. Some people don't write out word for word and some people do. But this leads to point number 3, which is practice your speech over and over again. When I mean practice my speech, I don't practice my speech word for word. I'm one of those people, if I look at a piece of paper with the words, I can get it and I can summarize it in my own words. Do not practice it word for word. And when you practice it in the shower, practice it while driving, practice it while walking, practice it in front of a mirror, looking directly in the mirror until you feel comfortable enough to give it to an audience, and where you don't forget your lines or where you don't forget certain parts of the speech. Number 4 is you should record your speech. Record your speech on your phone or if you have a camera, and then go back and look at it. Look at what you need to fix. Show people, show your family members, show your friends, show to what other people, and let them give you their unbiased opinion of each point. What things can you change around? What things can you make more interesting? What things that you said that doesn't make any sense at all? After you show people your speech, this leads to number 5 is fix whatever that needs to be fixed. Making your speech just 1% better can significantly make your speech powerful. I was in a Toastmasters competition, and I won the club level, I won the area level, I won the division level, and my speech was great. But when I went to district level, I kept on perfecting each time. Every single contest, I said it in front of people, they gave me their feedback, I recorded it, they gave me the feedback, and I just added a few more sentences in the conclusion and took out a few things. Wasn't much of a change, but that change made the speech much more powerful. And it was that 1% change that made all the difference in changing the dynamic of my speech. So let's summarize what you should do to prepare for a speech. First off, you should know the topic extremely well. Second off, you organize your speech by attention grabber, introduction, your 3 points with bullet points under each point, conclusion, where you wrap up everything, your call to action, make sure you compile all the information that you need for the speech, list it out in bullet points. And number 3, practice your speech everywhere you go. Number 4, record your speech and show it to others for feedback. And number 5, fix whatever that needs to be fixed to make it 1% better. I don't want you to be so intimidated by giving a speech. I know it can be daunting sometimes, especially when you have grades on the line, if you're afraid of other people's opinion. I know some people who have cried. I know some people who have been laughed at. I used to get laughed at all the time when giving a speech until I got tired of it, and I decided to make myself 10 times better in public speaking. Remember, it takes a lot of practice. You're not going to get better overnight. And just commit yourself to preparing for each speech, just like how you prepare for each test. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do have any questions about public speaking, feel free to message me on Instagram at Shelomo Solson. My Instagram handle is in the description. If you haven't done so already, click the link in the description for my course, Building Resilience 101. I'm telling you, it's a life-changing course. It's something that took me years and years and years to find out, spending thousands of dollars on mentors and coaches to help me learn some of these things. I'm going to teach you for a very affordable price. But once you click on the link and once you type in podcast, PODCAST, as a discount code, if you're one of the first 10 people who have signed up, then you will receive a 50% discount. And until next time, peace.